How to apply the lens blur effect in DaVinci Resolve. Now you could use the edit panel, but you can also use the color panel. If you go to the color panel, here it is down here. So with this, you can see I've got a lens blur effect. So let's just remove it. Here's the image, just without the lens blur, just a basic picture of a London bus in Oxford Street. And with this, I can go to the lens blur, which you can find via the library. Just go to the library, put in lens, and you can see there it's in Resolve Effects Blur. And just drag here. Now at this point, it's still not been applied. So what you need to do is just drag from here down to RGB, and then drag from here up to here. And now the lens blur effect is applied. Now this is using the real apertures as the default one. So you've got this option. You also got creative and external. So I'm just going to I can go through these pentagon. You can see a variety of different blurs, some more obvious than others. If that's a sort of pentagon effect, I think you can just about make out a pentagon effect. Also, you've got square, etc. And that gives a square effect. You can see now a sort of crossing over effect. However, you'll notice you've also got creative, which is nice. You've got hearts, etc. But you've also got external input. So external input, at this point, I've got nothing to actually flow into here. Well, I'm just going to add something. So I'm just going to drag from here. So that RGB there, I'm just going to go with that one and just drag it up here. And now I've got a lens blur effect, but using this one. Now, where did this image come from? Well, this came from Photoshop. All it is a black image. I created it, I think it's about 1920, etc. And I just filled it with some white dots using a soft round brush. And that's all it is. Nothing special. You can also use transparencies, etc. And of course you can apply effects to create different designs and also different brush strokes. Also other applications can be used, of course, GIMP, etc. Affinity Photo. Okay, so you've got this. Now you'll notice here you've got no settings for it. There's no settings for this file. But you can go to lens blur and you can then modify the scale. So you can see as you do that, you can really see the effect of those dots there. And you can see as you change that, you can change rotation. So again, all these have all the usual standard features of DaVinci Resolve. You've got the keyframe, so you can keyframe it and you can rotate it there, modify the shift, highlights, etc. So a variety of things. Let's just make that down so you can actually see just about make out the brush, the bus I should say, as well as the dots from the brush strokes. Okay, what you can now do is use a different one. I've got one here that's made up of lines, very thin lines, thinnish lines. You could make ones without lines, really create great effect. So just drag there and just there. Now all these are stored over here in the, you just simply file and go to import, and you can import them and they're PNG files. So with this, you can see now I've got line, and you can see the effect of that line. You can see it just slightly sort of move in there around that line. And you've got that. Well, let's just go for another one. So I've got one with a lot more dots in. And now a lot more dots, it creates obviously a more intense image. You might want to lower the scale down, rotation, you can see vary that. But also you've got this one, another sort of line-based one. I think line ones are quite effective. So I'm just going to drag this up and you can see lens blur, and this has got lines, and you can see the effect of those lines. So you can create some sort of unusual cutting effects within that. And again, modify the scale. You can reduce it down and down, 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 and see more as a result, as well as, of course, modifying these settings as well to create other interesting effects. I'm just going to go with the last one here. I can just drag this up, and this is low text. And this just is just so you can put words into it. It's a whole variety of different things. And again, let's just reduce this down. And you can see the effect of the words, creating these sort of lines and designs. And again, you could apply effects to them. However, what you can also do, and let's just move these ones out of the way. Don't need those anymore. They're just sort of in the way. Let's move that up there. And I'm going to put a transform in between. So you could put other effects as well. You could warp it, etc. But let's put a transform. Transform's a good one. Transform. Press there. And now you can see you've got a transform there. That's what I want. And I'm just going to drag that over. So there's transform. And now just drag this up. Go into there. Go up to there. And you see it's going from there, into there, up into there, over to there. And now, transform, you see you've got these options. You've got sliders, interactive, canvas, etc. Interesting, I've never used those ones. But sliders, let's just go with the sliders. And position, you can see you can modify the position, and that will modify the position obviously of the text. And if you want, you could go back to the lens blur and you can actually see it, preview shape. It's there, just about make it out, bit of a blurred text. But you can go back to transform, position Y, and you can see as you do that, it will create a sort of up and down effect. Now it doesn't allow you to go for too much, but let's push this up even more. Oh, gone too far. Okay, and you've also got zoom, and you can see actually just about make out lettering sort of thing when you get the zoom kicks in. Also rotation, so you can see you can create an interesting rotation effect with those lines of text, and you could create any kind of lines of text. I've just created quite a lengthy one, but it could be, say, a single word or something. Also, you can modify the width, and you can modify height and pitch. And as you do that, you will see the result here as well. And you can flip it and so on to create interesting transform. And of course, you could combine multiple ones. So you could have 2 or 3, maybe have some distortion effects in between as well. You've got other ones here, image adjustments. So you can see you've got image softness. So you could tweak it. So you don't have to change the actual original design. You could, of course, add a whole range of different designs. So you've got here advanced, and you've also got compositions as well. So add, subtract, you could vary it. They may have or may not have any particular effect. So that is how to use external ones with this lens blur. And like I say, you've got a load of features here as well to use. So scale, and you can see as you do that, really sort of completely destroys the image, but you can still see the effect of those lines, or obviously in this case the text being applied to a transform. But as mentioned, don't have to use transform. You can always let's just move that back to something a bit better scale so it's not such a blowout, and you can reduce it down. There's loads and loads of other effects you can use as well. So with this, go to the library. We click that by accident. If you do that, no, go to the library and maybe go for a distort or something, one of the distort ones, a lens distortion. So you could just add that as well. So that's another one. Again, putting that from there, into there. And you can see then you've got the lens distortion in that flow all the way through to the lens blur. And with lens distortion, you can go here, red distortion. You can modify the green distortion, blue distortion, and also you can separate the two as well, so they're not all of them moving at the same time. So you can create a variety of different effects using that. And also position, as well, you can see move that, edge behavior, reflect, and so on. So all kinds of different lens blur effects can be created just by simply adding a few additional effects in between some text, some lines, or just dots, or just a whole range of different designs that you can add, not just hearts and things. Hope you found this of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Bye.